So I played CSGO and I made it into the higher ranks, namely MGE, which is Master Guardian Elite, and even hit DMG for a very brief period. This took me thousands of hours to achieve. This accounted for countless hours and days and even months stuck at certain ranks simply because I didn't know what to do to improve or how to do it. I thought by just playing the game, you get better. I now know that's not true. As a matter of fact, sometimes you even get worse by just playing. I last played CSGO years ago, and I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be. But I'm playing Valorant now. I now know what it takes to rank up and how to do it. It doesn't take 4,000 hours to reach this. As a matter of fact, it's not even about how much time you put into it. It's about how you use that time. I believe anybody can improve at this game at a strong pace and see continual results and skip the countless hours of being stuck. And I'm going to show you how to do it much faster than I ever did in CSGO, and we're going to do it together. The most important part of achieving this by far is making a commitment. A commitment to stick to this tutorial, and I don't just mean watch these videos, I mean actually make a commitment to apply everything you learn. The mindset you set for yourself will directly determine how well you do. That means you commit to saving your armor and guns when it's the right thing to do. You commit to not giving up during any game or round. Even if you're on a 1v5 and you're out of bullets, you don't ever give up. You commit to hide and buy time for the bomb to explode when that's the right thing to do. You're not going to give your opponent a chance to win when you don't need to. You'll do your best to increase the chances of actually winning at every corner, even if that means you don't get to always be cocky or funny or a hero or whatever. Commitment just means sticking to your decision to improve and really sticking to it. That means you don't just kind of try, you actually do your best every time. That's it. It's the most important part, but this can also be the easiest part. Are you committed? Because I'm committed to ranking you up. So if you're ready to win and you're committed to improving your game, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button and let's get started. Go on, I'll give you a moment. Congratulations, you just achieved the hardest part of the series. From here on, it's like an instruction manual. I'm going to make it that easy for you. You follow the steps and get the results. Whether you're new to FPS or a seasoned veteran, I suggest starting off with this video and going through the videos in sequence. We're going to be making good habits from the beginning, or for some of us, that might mean correcting bad old habits we've been doing for too long. Let's get started. First up, we need to deal with something I like to call cold turkey, and we will never queue up for a ranked game as a cold turkey. The problem here is that jumping straight into a game, you're going to warm up very slowly. This is because in a ranked game, you only get a couple of seconds of actual aim and mouse coordination training per round. Each round in Valorant is 100 seconds long, and that's not including the 30-second prep phase before each round begins or the loading time of the game. To avoid cold turkey, we need to do a practice run for at least 10 minutes each day before we play. The amount of warm-up and practice you will receive in this practice mode will by far surpass the training you actually get playing the game. This is because you will be spending every second training and improving your aim in practice, as opposed to the 5 seconds of training you get during an actual ranked round in Valorant, which is 130 seconds long. That's less than 4% of the time you're playing Valorant, you're actually getting practice. Practice is a huge key to improving, and we will use it to enforce creating good habits or to correct bad habits. Alright, so first up, we're going to be talking about recoil control. Now, what you need to know first of all is that all guns are different, but we'll do the Vandal here for a first gun. So I want you to be aware that every single spray is going to be slightly different. So let's have a look here. So in the first case it went up and then slightly left, slightly right, whereas the second spray went all the way up and then took a left turn. Let's do a couple more. So it kind of looks like after about the 6th bullet, it becomes a bit random. Now you can practice this, you can practice the top bullets and trying to keep them more and more accurate, but there is certainly a level of luck involved. So what we're going to be focusing on is the first 6 bullets. Those ones can be controlled. So having a look at the first 6 bullets, you'll notice that the first 3 are grouped together and then they progressively get higher and higher at an accelerating rate. Well, the last one didn't in this case, but usually it does. Let's have another look. There we go. First 3 are grouped together and then go higher and higher. Now it's not always the same, but for the first 6 bullets you can count on this. So in order to compensate for this, we're going to pull down on the cursor the same amount that the bullets are going up. So this means that as we go lower and lower with the mouse, we're going to have to pull faster and faster. So let's do this with the first 3 bullets, where we're just going to be pulling down on the mouse the same distance that the bullets go up. Let's give this a try. I think I've been shooting 4 bullets in most of those cases, but it's certainly compensating for the recoil pattern. Now for the following 3 bullets, we're going to have to pull down even faster on the mouse and hopefully try to get all them all in the same spot. Let's give this a try. You'll notice on this one I didn't quite pull down just enough, but it is certainly doing well. If you can't do this, I would certainly suggest this being one of the first things you actually practice in practice mode until you can get the first 6 bullets relatively in the same spot. Knowing each gun has a different recoil pattern, we will need to practice several guns. Namely, you should have a favorite between these 2 right here. These are the most common rifles to purchase. So the Phantom and the Vandal, they have a very similar recoil pattern. However, the Vandal is slightly more difficult to control. This becomes even more evident when trying to fire over a longer distance, as it becomes even harder to control. So I suggest practicing whichever gun you prefer. You should also have a favorite between the Spectre and the Stinger, and you should practice the recoil so that in an actual ranked game, it's habit to pull down on the mouse. Now once you're comfortable with your recoil pattern and they're relatively in the same spot every single time, we can move on to the next step. The next step is actually just knowing and having a little bit of knowledge. So you need to know that the headshot does far more damage than anywhere else on the body. For most weapons such as the Ghost, Vandal, Phantom, it is a one-shot kill to the head. So let's have a look here. Unfortunately, hitting the chest does a lot less damage and takes a lot more shots to actually kill the person. If he's hitting one of the limbs, it's even worse. We can have a look at this even closer if you want to use this guy over here. It'll actually show you how much damage it does on each one. So headshot is 105, body shot is 30, and limb shot is 25. Now, if he had armor, it would have been 2 shots to the head in order to kill him. But the key takeaway here is the fact that we need to aim for the head at all times. Now there's a few crucial tricks that people use in order to make headshots being a lot easier. The first one and the most important is the headshot line. So we can imagine an imaginary line that goes across everybody's head. Now anytime there is an opponent in front of us, their head is going to be somewhere on this line. This means that there is no point in us having our cursor down here. You will often notice veteran players having their cursor on the floor. It is a really bad habit that a lot of people have. So we need to make this habit from the very beginning and keep our cursor on the headshot line at all times. It reduces the amount of correction we need to do in order to get a headshot. So the moment you see the opponent, you would have to correct vertically and then horizontally to hit the head. But if your cursor is already on the headshot line at all times, you really only have to correct laterally in order to hit the head, making it a lot easier. Reducing the amount of time it takes us to get our cursor onto the target's head is crucial, as often an engagement can last just milliseconds. So anything we can do to reduce this will help greatly. In order to practice headshots and cursor placement, there's a very easy trick which will get you far above everybody else at a very quick pace. And this is to practice it at all times. So it doesn't matter if you're in practice mode or you're in a pre-phase of a game, you will always keep your cursor on this headshot line. This will get you in the habit of having the cursor in the correct placement. This is going to reduce the chance that we're going to be caught off guard with our cursor on the floor or in the sky. Now that we are comfortable and accurate with controlling the recoil of our favorite guns, and we are in the habit of always keeping our cursor on the headshot line, we are ready to begin our target aim training. We can bring up some targets with the practice button down here. Now we can practice shooting 1 to 6 bullets at each target's head while trying to move our aim from head to head. Keep increasing the speed at which you do this. And be aware that even if you start shooting at his head before your cursor has actually reached him, you can correct this during the 6 bullets. Just make sure you're compensating for the recoil and pulling down as you're still going towards his head. And the 6th bullet should be hitting his head. Continue to do this from head to head as fast as you can until you start missing a target or two. That should be the perfect pace for you to practice. In a future video, we're going to be taking a closer look at aim sensitivity, but one small trick we can use for now. If you find you consistently start shooting at the head before you've reached it, or consistently start shooting at the head having overshot and then coming back, we can make some minor adjustments to the aim sensitivity. So if you're constantly under aiming towards his head and you start firing from this position, then you could just increase your aim sensitivity slightly. And if you find you're constantly over aiming and then having to come back towards his head, you can decrease your aim sensitivity, and this should improve it. Try not to change this too often. I'd give it at least several minutes and be sure about this change before you make it. Otherwise, you're going to keep throwing yourself off. For the last part of our practice session, we're going to be challenging ourselves. Let's hit F3 on the keyboard, and we're going to choose a speed setting of easy. Now, once we hit start, we're going to have targets pop up, and they're going to stay up for about 2 seconds and then disappear. There's going to be 30 of these targets, and we're going to try to hit as many of them as possible. Remembering to shoot at the head, keep the cursor on the headshot line, and compensate for your recoil. The beauty of this training is that we can see our progress every single day, and we can set goals for ourselves to hit more and more of the 30 targets. Once you're comfortable on the easy setting, let's move on to medium. On medium, the targets are going to appear for about a second each before disappearing. I'd like to set a personal goal of hitting at least 10 targets out of the 30 on the medium setting before moving on to the next video in this rank up tutorial. To summarize the first part of this rank up tutorial, we're going to be committing to improving our skills and giving it our best. We're going to be starting with a cold turkey practice of 10 to 30 minutes practice each day before we play Valorant. During this 10-minute practice, we will train our recoil pattern for the first 6 bullets with our favorite guns. During our training, we will be constantly reminding ourselves to keep our cursor on the headshot line, and we will finish our training session with some target practice on either easy or medium setting while setting a goal for ourselves to do better and better. I've given the series a lot of thought so we can cover veterans and new players alike to improve together. In this first video, we covered some crucial basics that we should strive for when playing Valorant. In the next videos, we're going to be diving deeper into aim, movement, taking an in-depth look at each agent and how to capitalize on their strengths and weaknesses, as well as map strategies and more. But we will need to go through this rank up guide at a reasonable pace and make sure we learn and apply each video's lessons until we are confident they are becoming habits. So set a goal for yourself to reach before moving on to the next video. In the meantime, if you'd like to improve your game even further, there will be videos on improving your game via proper settings. A couple of videos I recommend are improving Windows settings to eliminate micro game stutter, and how to set up your mouse settings in Windows and in-game. Links will be provided in the description below. Don't forget to click that sub button and leave a hello in the comments section so we're committed to ranking up together. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, keep on fragging.
We are strong because we are together. Don't forget that.